Algeria. How will it be? There was, of course, a big mind of the Algerians, where you see their players are professional. That in a way that you would see their squad was dominated with professional players. Professionalism means that the art of what you're supposed to do, you always have to be aware of. Now look at profession, the players. Even the game alone showed you what exactly. First round or first half, it was so challenging for Algeria, though they tried threatening here and there. But Uganda got an early lead through, that is Travis Mutiaba, who also is playing in a professional league. I looked at how tactically the team went for the game. You would see that the defense line was the problem for Uganda, because it was only Elio Capradossi who, of course, could do something for the team of Uganda, or the country Uganda, to propel them to where they needed to be. But the rest have challenges. Now, for Capradossi, it's because he has also been in the professional world. He has played for Roma. He has played for Cagliari. He's right now playing for a team called Lecco, still in Italy. And this is one big thing that a player like that could add into books. So interesting for Uganda, because I did see what expectation that you could really need to have for such a team. Because one, the display of the game was one key thing I looked at. They loved building from behind. Ismail Watenga, the goalkeeper, tried everything possible to see that it worked out. But when the defense line became, now that's where you will see professionalism and maybe a semi-profession. Capradossi was doing the right things, while Khalid Walia couldn't. The partnership couldn't be that, you could say, for the second leg. Because first round, the game against Botswana was so interesting that Uganda got 1-0. And there's that history in Ugandan football also, I should say, at Nambole, that Uganda does not win more than 2+3 goals at Nambole for the past several years that have been there. So it shows you that amidst all that one goal, now they needed to defend. But indeed, you're defending against an Algeria side that knows what to do, that knows what to break. Vladimir was the guy in charge of the team of Algeria. The coach Vladimir had to go back to the drawing board and see that this is how we need to attack, after analyzing Uganda's tactical display. So I think Algeria showed class and maturity in that game, whereas Uganda complacency killed them, because they scored faster. And I think because they were home, they couldn't really dominate, but the defense line was porous. And then the midfield of Bobosi Biaruhanga, and the man by the names of, it was Ronald Sechiganda, who of course had a very good display there this time round. Though there were two changes made from the winning team that got that won in the last game. Bobosi came in, I remember, for Alan Okello. And then you did also see one change in up front, where of course Mato had to start the game ahead of that time it was Mukwala and then Alan Okello. This time around Alan Okello was off, and Bobosi Biaruhanga had to start the game ahead of that. So that means Paul Put looked into that. I can't risk two players of Alan Okello and Mutiaba, who similar, you could say, maybe play similar type of football or same position, because that forced Alan Okello in the first game to be pushed to the flanks. But Uganda has not done bad, because that is yet their first loss in the Africa, the World Cup qualifiers this season, or this time. Paul Put, this was his second game, probably I should say, in that is the qualifiers. Winning one, losing one was not a bad one, but I loved the technicality he has brought into the team, the free-flowing football that he has brought into the team, that has added Uganda to at least you can see beautiful football. So we're expecting, of course, a lot. Uganda still has to play a couple of things. Countries, talk about Guinea, talk about teams like Somalia, and then they're still in play. But remember also Uganda has to go for second rounds of these games probably next year, and different teams that they will be playing. So they tried, and team is back. Probably we should be saying that I want to thank also the Ugandan government, probably, and also some individuals in the Ugandan government who are trying so much to support. In fact, the sports minister has also done a lot of work to see that this works out in in Ugandan football. So yeah, Susie, I think Uganda needs a lot. I don't think they are yet ready, but they need 1 or 2, 3 more years to make sure that they get themselves into the
they
World
are
Cup.
trying to, by the way, catch up each and every other time. I see a lot of people saying Uganda needs time for Uganda to qualify and be there. It is going to be a process and a very long process and all that. So basically, I don't know when we shall start trusting in our own. But a few things that I did watch also in the game where that Halida Lualilwa did play his best matches. A lot of people actually did trust him in there. But then Timothy Awanyi did partner so well with Kaprodowski in there. And I think this time around it's quite very evident that in the upcoming fixtures that are yet to, of course, come in that we are to honor, they should, of course, partner in Kaprodowski with Awanyi in there. And then also, one thing is that Sechuganda Ronald did play so well. He tried his best matches. The game wasn't quite a very good one for us. And if you look at the table standings for Team Uganda, we now sit in position number 3. It's not yet quite a very bad one. And then also, yesterday, there were a few games that also did go through in the World Cup qualifiers that we did have a derby.
In fact, right now, before the derby, there's Uganda right now should be sitting at second last bottom, because there were some games played yesterday and which has affected them. In fact, played the other day, which affected Uganda, because the team of Guinea also got a win now. They're 9 points also, so which pushes the rest of the teams to 6, and Uganda has no goal.
Has 4 points.
Yes, so you would see that the rest of the teams are 6. It's only Somalia that has no point because they have never won any game.
Basically that, and then also that of course brings us to look into the derby yesterday with our neighbors, where we did see Sudan taking on South Sudan in the home of South Sudan in there. And of course a lot of people expected a win, by the way, for South Sudan, based on how the first game against Togo went down very well for them. They did tie Togo into, I think, a 1-1. Yeah, they did tie Togo into a 1-1, where we did see one of our own, there is Gaddafi, Thiago, commonly called as Germany, bringing in an assist there for their team South Sudan to get that equalizer against Togo. But this time around, sitting back home, things didn't work out so well for them. We did see their brothers beating them 3-0. That's something you expected. To me, it was quite a shocker.
It wasn't a shock to me because of the head-to-head. That's 1-2. Because of what exactly Sudan is, they are still unbeaten in the World Cup qualifiers up to now. As we talk, they are leading the table after winning all their games in there. So if you look at Sudan, South Sudan, they have been the biggest has been their draw that they have gotten also last week against Togo, but consistency of Sudan showed me that they were going to show a class. I was in one of the media houses trying to analyze with a friend Pundit about the same thing. He told me he is so skeptical about this game. I said why, and he's like, Sudan, South Sudan has is the second, or is Uganda B that is there. I said why. He said a lot of Ugandan players have crossed over that side, which he thinks will do better. But I assured him, because I knew Sudan, with all their homeborn players, the height would help them a lot with what exactly they had to do. Pushed into the team. And if you look at Sudan, they had not lost any game to South Sudan in such a competition. So it really gave them that ability, though they were away. And then South Sudan, I think there's also that mindset, because every time it has been what is called a war-torn area. Every time you would hear bullets and this, so I believe most of the people feel insecure even gathering in a stadium maybe most of the times. But all in all, Sudan knew they were nowhere. In fact, they knew they were the home team because the rest were, well, most of them were Ugandans who came to play in there. You just talked about Wahab Thiago, who is a Ugandan player right there. So you talk about the Capitano Tendele Gerigas, the Okochas, the Torashis, Adata, who have, you know, these names have been in Uganda League for long. But of course, they always go there show class of what football is here, because for me, I don't believe in football that is in Sudan so much. The league there is not so competitive like ours there. So with that, I think Uganda, Sudan did what exactly they needed to do. And right now they're on the table. It is a shock because Sudan is on table. There's Senegal that follows them, if I'm not mistaken. There's DR Congo. Those are the groups they are in. And someone would say, how? And how is it happening? Togo. And yet, right now, it's Sudan that is leading the table. So it wasn't a shock. It was a sure win for me. And this time around, even they went beyond, because winning 3-0, I think an away game was so important. Now they have around 6 goals to their names.
There were a couple of games that also did go down yesterday, where we did see Madagascar and Mali tying on a 0-0, and then Kenya and Ivory Coast also tied on a 0-0. The very one that we are discussing, South Sudan up against Sudan, went 3-0 in favor of Sudan. And then Mauritius did beat Eswatini 2-1. And then we did see Comoros come a victory over, there is a Chad, in a 2-0 win there. And then Lesotho lost to, there is Rwanda, 1-0. We did see Cape Verde beating, there is Libya, 1-0. And then Zambia also did lose to our neighbors, Tanzania, 1-0. South Africa did beat Zimbabwe 3-1. And then Seychelles did lose to, there is Burundi, 3-1. Angola and Cameroon played a 1-1 draw there. And then Gabon and Gambia, we did see Gambia lose to Gabon 3-2. Congo lost to, there is Morocco 6-0. What I think, what do you think helped Team Tanzania to go past there is Zambia in that 1-0 win?
Yeah, I think believing in themselves, the players believed in themselves. Remember, this time round, it's all about the Pamoja bid that people are looking into. So that means Africa Cup of Nations. You being a nation that wants to host an African Cup of Nations, you need to be at some class also to prove that maybe when such a thing comes to Uganda or Tanzania, you are going to do it. So Tanzania believed in themselves and added in more of course, the game reading bit of it to know what exactly did they miss, what exactly is missing in this team, and that's what probably helped them. And that goal scoring early, of course, scoring it was one thing. The display, the issue was, let's score the goal and think about what next. So that is one thing. Just like what I expected Uganda to do, score your goal and know how to handle the remaining minutes of the game, and that's what Tanzania did. So it was just a play on the tactical approach of the game.
Okay, as we of course leave World Cup qualifiers, we'll be looking into some of the fixtures that are yet to return for today's Just 12 that are yet to return. In between the week, we'll be having Niger playing, there is Morocco, Malawi will be taking on Namibia, we'll be seeing Sudan taking on Senegal. This is going to be a very tough one. We'll be having Zimbabwe taking on Benin, and Tanzania will take on Congo. Rwanda will play, there is Nigeria, Burkina Faso will play Djibouti, Equatorial Guinea will have to take on Sao Tome and Principe, will have Botswana taking on Algeria, Libya will have Angola, Guinea will take on Somalia, Gabon will take on Chile's Congo, and South Sudan. These are some of the games that will come up. I want us to look at, the Senegal game, where Senegal, of course, will be taking on Sudan, a very big one.
Yeah, a very big one. I think there's going to be that rest a bit because Senegal just played. Sudan just played yesterday, and
yeah.
they will need to have
The
a
games
rest.
are on 17th.
17 after today is 12 sometime, but I think it's going to be a tough
About 4 days.
games to do in for this because the two will be battling in for what is called the Tobo spot. Right now they're 9 points, and I think Tanzania should, Senegal should also be close to them in the way they are progressing. So winning all their games means a lot for them. And playing against Senegal. Senegal, remember, they had all what it needed to take probably to push things work out for them. Now they're coming against a rejuvenated Sudan who has won their games consistently and are doing very, very well. So we're expecting to see changes in their different ways because the game intensity is going to be high. How is the intensity going to be high? The intensity of the game is going to be risen depending on what expectation the two teams have. All of them wants to finish the table toppers. Remember, they are only picking one team to represent in each group in the Africa continent. So you will be in each team. That means in each group you will have one team or one country representing. And that's why I was saying if Uganda was to finish on top, then they would. Just like the other group where you're seeing Egypt already showing that they are nowhere to lose and they want to also qualify. So it's going to be a tense game tactically and of course even physically on the pitch. It will be a tough game and a decider game, of course.
Sudan only has about 4 days to rest from today, from the time they actually played yesterday to there is a playing in a very big one with Senegal in there. This is going to be a very tough clash for there is Sudan, and literally it's also going to be a very tough one for there is a team Senegal based on the analysis my colleague Pandit has given us. There is Owen saying Sudan has had an unbeaten run in there. It's going to be quite a very tough one, unless otherwise before we slide into the half break when we return, we'll be of course returning in with a couple of transfer stories here and there, unless otherwise you have something to put in before we cross over for a very short commercial.
Yeah, of course, teams right now in the Ugandan League are looking forward to see that they need to get equipped with players before the season opens. Remember, probably at Uganda Premier League could be opening or starting in August, and the FUFA Big League could take a note of September that you could be seeing in there. So already transfers and the rest are going on. Teams are recruiting based on what player they need. That is one in Uganda. Then two, of course, Ugandan players are back in the camp probably after that loss that they got from Algeria. They are looking into how they could, of course, push things. But at the same time, I'm seeing already campaigns running for, of course, one of the ladies for Nile Leopards. Of course, who has been doing well she's called Onyiru. People are doing campaign, or the Nile Leopards team is doing campaign or running a campaign fundraiser to buy for her the spikes and of course the let's say the uniform and the boots for this cause of hers. She's the only rugby person who went to represent, but barefooted, and you did see her also progressing very well. So that is also ongoing right now as we talk. We have another thing that if of course teams call for support, we need to show up right there. So that is one big one. And then coming on card is Unduparaka Fans group that is also trying to set up something about a fundraiser probably this Saturday. It's going to be at Greenlight Stadium. They will have a friendly game and a build-up game to make sure that they get of course revenue to do one or two activities in that is Greenlight Stadium. So those are some of the things that are right on card for those who are following. As also reports have it that Arua Hill Sports Club still also looking for who is that person going to lead them for the 2023-2024 season that is coming through. So in fact 2024-2025 season. Several people have been contacted, including the former chairman of Doves All Stars, Mr. Gilt, who has been contacted according to reliable resources. But of course, talks are still ongoing. So those are some of the big talking points right now for the different fans who would want to know. In case also the business goes on well, then we will also be letting you know how that will be, because the teams are planning to see that they do contract renewals, contract, of course, assessments, the review of teams, of course, last season. So that's how exactly it is. But all in all, I want to say that's locally what I have for you. Maybe continentally, other things will be coming in the second round.